Harvest.
Greetings, Afriqiya FM listeners. This is Widad Allaoua with your Pan-African News appointment. The 90th session of the Executive Bureau of the African Conference of Judicial Bodies officially kicks off today at the Abdellatif Rahal International Conference Center in Algiers. Under the high patronage of President Abdelmajid Tebboune, the session is examining the conference's 2026 work program, approving moral and financial reports for 2025, with Turkey attending as observer and Libya as guest of honor. Joining us our colleague Iman Nouad live on field to inform us of what's unfolding from the convention center. Hello, Iman.
Hello, Widad, and hello to you all, dear listeners across the continent and the world. I'm reporting live from Algiers at the International Convention Center Abdellatif Rahal, where the 19th session of the Executive Bureau of the Conference of Constitutional Jurisdiction of Africa opened this morning in the Algerian capital under the high patronage of President Abdelmajid Tebboune. Delegations from Constitutional and Supreme Court across Africa gathered earlier this day at the Constitutional Court headquarters, with Turkey attending as observer while Libya as a guest of honor. Discussions were about the conference's 2026 work program and the approval of the 2025 moral and financial reports, as a high-level interactive sessions were also scheduled for this day and for the upcoming days, focusing on relations between public authorities and constitutional institutions in light of Algeria's 2020 constitutional revision. Now, organizers says that the meeting underscores Algeria's historic role as a hub for constitutional justice and its commitment to strengthening democracy and the rule of law across the continent. This is all we have to report today, and this conference will continue until the 24th of January 2026. And that is all I have to say for now, and back to you, Widad, to the studio. This is Iman Nouad from the ICC.
Thank you, Iman, for your insights. And keeping up with the conference, during the discourse of President Abdelmajid Tebboune, recited by Algerian judge and politician Widad Allaoua, President Tebboune states that the 2020 constitutional amendment marked a major shift by introducing a constitutional court for the first time. It reinforced the independence of the judiciary, improved the balance between state institutions, and enhanced the constitutional oversight. Widad Allaoua.
This meeting is happening in a national context marked by an important step, the 2020 constitutional amendment. This was a turning point for political and institutional reforms. For the first time in Algeria, it created a constitutional court, showing our commitment to justice and the rule of law. This change has helped make the judiciary independent and improve constitutional oversight. It also strengthens the protection of citizens' rights and freedoms.
In addition, and during the conference and speaking at the opening, Chief Justice of Zimbabwe, Luke Malaba, emphasizes on the vital role of constitutional courts upholding democracy, the rule of law, and human dignity across the continent. Let's hear this small part of his speech.
This is very important for us and for the common person in the street, that we know that there is a body to vindicate ultimately the rights, the rule of law, constitutional supremacy, good governance, judicial independence. These are not just words. They are not just provisions in constitutions. These are answers to the cries of the many voices in Africa. They are the answers we are seeking to find. For the many voices, even the voiceless, must find space in constitutional protection. So we are grateful that we have in Africa countries that have listened and taken upon themselves to ensure the commitment and the dedication to enforcing these values across the continent and take up the leadership, and Algeria is a such country.
The African experts and members of the League of the Sahelian Scholars, Preachers and Imams have praised Algeria's pioneering experience in combating terrorism and violent extremism during a high-level scientific symposium on religious diplomacy in the African Sahel, held with the participation of representatives from 11 African countries.
Algeria and Chad are strengthening their cooperation in the cement industry.
The chairperson of the AU Commission, Mahmoud Ali Youssef, receives Dr. Morisanda Koyati, Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Guinea. The chairperson underscores Guinea's positive trajectory and welcomes the significant progress achieved in advancing an inclusive political transition. Anchored in national dialogue and respect for constitutional order, he reaffirms the AU's priority on the peaceful facilitation of transitions in suspended member states and notes with appreciation Guinea's readiness to fully resume its place with the AU. On the sidelines of the Semeka Chad 2026 trade fair, Algeria and Chad signed several agreements to strengthen industrial and investment cooperation with the aim of developing industrial sector and enhancing economic integration between the two countries. Yasmin Ben Ashur explains more in this report.
Algeria and Chad are strengthening their cooperation in the cement industry. On Wednesday in Jamena, Algerian Minister of Industry Yahya Bashir holds a working meeting with Chad's Minister of Trade and Industry, Mathieu Gibolo Fanga. The meeting takes place during the International Exhibition of Mines, Quarries and Hydrocarbons, Semeka Chad 2026, which is ongoing today in the Chadian capital. The talks focus on developing cement production in Chad. Both sides discuss medium-term industrial projects and fast solutions to meet current needs, as demand for cement is higher than supply. Both countries agreed to prepare a cooperation agreement to support joint industrial projects and industrial development. This partnership marks a promising step toward deeper economic integration between Algeria and Chad, signaling not only strengthened ties in the cement sector but also shared commitment to advancing industrial development and meeting the growing needs for their populations.
Millions of children in Sudan have missed nearly 500 days of learning since the war started in April 2023, in what has become one of the world's longest school closures, surpassing the worst shutdowns during the COVID-19 pandemic, according to Save the Children communique.
We've been discussing today the situation.
And in a related development, during a solidarity meeting with the Sudanese people held in London, British Parliament member John McDonnell states that British arms sales to the United Arab Emirates are contributing to foiling massacres against civilians in Sudan. John McDonnell.
We've been discussing today the situation in Sudan, the humanitarian crisis that there is, and the ongoing war. This is a war that in many ways has been supported by the Western powers, and one of the ways in which it's been supported is as a result of the arms sales from the United Kingdom to the UAE, and the way in which those arms are then used within Sudan for killing civilians. So one of the demands we're making on the UK government is end all arms sales to the area of that region, because it's perpetrating a humanitarian crisis. The other issue for us as well is making sure the UK plays its role in supporting the people themselves.
In South Sudan, fighting between the South Sudan People's Defense Forces and the Sudan People's Liberation Army in opposition is back, triggering mass displacement and worsening the humanitarian crisis in Jonglei state. The Federal Republic of Somalia ratifies the IGAD Treaty, marking a pivotal step in advancing regional unity and cooperation. This achievement enables IGAD to reach the two-thirds ratification threshold needed to implement the revised treaty, strengthening the collective commitment to peace, regional integration, and sustainable development across the Horn of Africa. The Mediterranean cyclone Harry continues its advance across the Mediterranean basin. After affecting several countries in the region, the system has now reached Algeria. Despite devastating cyclones, lost harvests, and collapsed roads, displaced populations, this climate pattern marked by extreme swings and back-to-back events is driving increasingly intense cycles of droughts and floods. The Spanish writer Laura Casillas says that Sahrawi culture has become a new battleground against Morocco's occupation policies that seek to appropriate cultural symbols and erase the national identity of the Sahrawi people. Concluding with sports, as the Algerian Football Federation launches appeal procedures against what it described as unprecedented sanctions imposed by the Confederation of African Football on the Algerian national team and its players. Following the quarter-final match of the Africa Cup of Nations against Nigeria, the sanctions include the suspension of player Rafiq Belghali and Luka Zidane, along with fine totaling $100,000. Meanwhile, the handball second round of matches at the Africa Cup of Nations in Kigali, Rwanda, got underway earlier today, with Gabon facing Uganda and Cape Verde taking on Morocco. Reigning African champions, Egypt play their second match against Angola, aiming to secure early qualification for the next round. This was the harvest of the day. Thank you for your attention. It was directed by Yasmin Bakay, controlling board with Adlan, streaming with Rania, and observation with Malika.
Follow us on 105.6 FM.